Okay, I'm doing a video for my Master's Research Theory and Practice course for University of South Australia. So I'm actually recording this mainly for my people in my group. I'm in group 90. We're going to be doing a project on this data set. Um, Now, I found this data set before everyone else. So I've actually worked on this data set before. I had to clear it with my supervisor, make sure I'm okay to work on this assignment. But you can actually find this data set on Kaggle. It's mostly about the name's a little bit misleading. It's more to do with student performance. That's the main variable that you're looking at discovering. But it does have alcohol consumption as one of the features in the data set. But there's also a lot more features. So let's have a look at them. All right. So I'm not going to read all of them out, but basically you've got what school? There's two schools in Portugal, I believe. At sex, age, whether they're urban or rural, family size, a lot of things in there. So I'll let you kind of peruse that at your own leisure. But these are the ones that really kind of studying is okay, how they went in the subjects of math and Portuguese. Yeah, it's Portuguese school. So Portuguese is their English class for Portuguese students, and they're looking at their grades. Is the main variable under study, um, and how the other variables affect them. So when it comes to this, you can actually find a lot of work already done on this. So if you go into Kaggle and you search up this data set, there's a load of stuff already done. So if you like to work in different programming languages, you can find a lot of stuff on this. So yeah, have a look at Kaggle. You'll find the same data set. You'll find people working on it. Now I worked on it in R. So we're going to go R Studio. I'm going to see if I can run everything. I think this should work. Let's go to the top. So I wrote this assuming I would show it to nobody. So I wrote notes from my own understanding. Okay, so I'm going to run all chunks below and see what happens. Okay, so let that run for a little bit. And I will go back and I'll show you what I did with it for the previous assignment. So we're going to go over to this. Okay, so I did a course, probably can look, it's probably on my list of things. I go into here, data visualization. So the other students doing the master's course might have done the same course or something similar to it. So if I go back into, how do I do that? Go to my dashboard. Yeah. Of course, I'm running something, so it's going to be super slow. Probably not worth the time to go back into it. Yeah. Um, can I see it? Are you going to load? Sorry, I'm doing this on my old laptop, so it's a little bit slow. Data visualization. So I did it for this course. I won't leave that load because it's a course I've already done. But here's the project. So this is my final assignment, and basically I was using visualizations to explore and describe what's going on in this data set. So in the assignment, they actually asked us, and this was early on in the course, okay, find something on Kaggle that you think is interesting, write something about it, make a proposal, and end up in your final project. So my question was, can visualizations of data determine what makes a good student or makes good students? And okay, so I'm just going to go through this in detail. Those who are interested already have access to this. So there's my dashboard, but I'm just going to skip over that because we're going to see that in detail anyway. I'm not going to let you bore you with reading all of that unless you're so keen. Okay, so in the visualizations, um, I ran some algorithms to determine which of the features were the most important. So when that's done loading, I'll show you how that worked. Okay, so in particular, there's a big important one of the kids who perform well saying yes to higher education, that they wanted to go on to higher education. It's difficult in this study to determine whether or not it's like well like students with good academic performance. Is that the or what's the cardinal? What's the horse? What's leading to what? Is it good students saying they want to go into higher education, or is it students who want to go into higher education and working hard to become good students? Difficult to say. This was interesting though. It's the job, education, and mother was actually the two second highest features. That seemed to be particularly for this group of students. If the mother had a particular job and or particular education level, that seemed to feature higher in that. Study time was also important. There's a few other ones. The extra school support was up there. Frequent alcohol consumption is a variable I came up with in terms of the raw data, which I'll show you later on. There's a few other ones. This is just a list of the, I think it's 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay. So we did a correllogram as well with this. The main ones interested in is the final grade. If you look at that, the correlations are actually quite low. These are not particularly important. Study time is the only one that really features. Now, if you look at some of the higher ones, it's like, okay, there's a really good correlation between mum and dad have similar education levels. Okay, we can accept that. We have a high correlation between students who drink weekdays and students who drink on weekends. Okay, that doesn't really help us much. But other things like that. So, like the final grade, these are all very small for the most part. The only one that seems to really matter here is the study time. Um, in terms of these are only the ones that I could use that had numerical values. So like education levels were categorical data. So yeah, a lot of stuff here was categorical data that I couldn't do much with as far as the correllogram anyway. Okay, so but here's a way we could do it. So how's the mother's example shape students? Okay, so we've got final Portuguese grades by mother's education. Um, okay, so this increases as you go from bottom to top. And yeah, we got also, I broke it down by gender of student as well. It seems to be higher education, seems to be doing higher. Um, Although that's primary, secondary, whether how much high school they actually did, it's not that much. Yeah. Oh, okay, so box plots by students' final grades. And others education fields. So you can see here we've got different fields of work, I should say, and there's the associated box plots with that. Just move on with that. Now, this is an interesting feature I found in the Portuguese data, but not the math data. So I focused mostly on the Portuguese data because it was a bigger data set. You had more students doing Portuguese than doing math, particularly I think the senior levels. I didn't quite break down age too much in my data in my visualizations, but there was a higher the Portuguese they came in two data sets that you can merge, but the Portuguese data set was much larger. So you had students who were doing both, um, but you had a lot more Portuguese students. So I focused a lot on that. And there was a very interesting feature result that came out of this, and it's like, um, so we had a high male performance if they're studying for 5 to 10 hours, um, and but if they're doing more than 10, if they identify as doing more than 10, you actually had the girls were outpacing the boys quite significantly. And if you go down to the math data, that's not the same case. It seems to be if they're putting in some effort, the boys seem to be outperforming the girls in mathematics. Um, and yeah, I mean that's you can see that. Okay, the box is larger than the girls, but the median's higher. So yeah, make of that what you will. Okay. Um, I did look at alcohol consumption as a feature. So most important features for likely alcohol consumption because of one of my research questions. And I just highlighted a couple here. It's like, okay, these are the ones that have to do with the school. Sorry, do with extra educational support. Um, but it's mainly the social aspect that seems to be the most high, and also there's a big gender disparity in terms of that. So the importance of that featured more in terms of gender and social aspects. And frequent alcohol was as I said, a variable I derived from the raw data, and I'll explain that later on. So I might just run through the rest of this bit quickly. All right. Okay, proportion of frequent alcohol consumption by sex. So yeah, you've got okay. So proportion of males. You can see the males seem to be drinking a fair bit, and the girls is a lot less. Um, they were self-reporting whether like how likely it was from a scale of 1 to 10 that were going to drink. Um, and I derived that in terms of the frequent one. Um, and this is in terms of study time on this variable. Um, and if they were studying less than 2 hours, yeah, the girls would go out drinking a little bit, and that just fell off. If they were all serious about the studies, it didn't happen. Whereas the boys, that's an interesting feature. It's like, okay, you got the ones like 5 to 10, and the ones self-reporting they're studying more than 10, they should be drinking some more as the ones who reporting that they're not really studying at all. So make of that what you will. So, okay, let's just see if my R thing's loaded. So I'm going to go through this. Okay, so okay, here's my R script that I use to present this. Okay, I've just got usual stuff. A bunch of error messages, load files. Okay, all that stuff. Okay, so the data set's pretty clean. So I presented this to the group as well. You can access this. I just get RStudio is built for that, and just download the necessary packages for that. But there was no missings. I think it's a pretty clean data set. Yeah, that was the 0 there. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. Right. All right. This is just something I needed to do in terms of using the some of the algorithms to determine proportion. You had to convert everything to factor and numeric for that purpose. Okay. So did some exploration. So I did just bar and box plots for a bunch of them. Let's have a look at those. Okay. So I just go through these. Can I load this up? Yes, I can. I've got to click on that. You're going to be super slow with me, are you? Okay. All right. It's not that important. Okay. We've got the data set. You can go through this. I didn't label these because as I was doing them for kind of my own purposes. Basically, I could count which one I was looking at, so I didn't bother to label these because I was just using this for exploration. But yeah, they're there. Okay, so this is where I started doing some of the importance filters. So, okay. Okay. Now, all right. So I was looking at this. This is something I use to work out the whether or not you fell into some of the top students. So that's when your total score um, was greater than or equal to 14. If you're low achieving student, your total score was less than or equal to 10. And here's the one for the high drink, like frequent drinkers. So I use this. So if on a scale to 1 to 5, if you scored 4 and above for drinking either during weekdays or weekends, so if either one you set a 4 or 5, I put you in the category of frequent drinkers. So that created this new one, frequent drinkers. Okay. All right. So the proportion of high drink students, there was 140 who fell into that category in terms of the whole data set for Portuguese students. Okay. So this is the importance part. So I had a thing about I might just look at romantic attachments. I didn't really go into that much. Okay. I didn't really go much into that one either. Trying to have to remember what I did here. But I did go into determining top students and frequent alcohol. So there was a bit of exploration here. Let's have a look what have we got here. All right. Okay, so that was features. I have to go in order they are. That was romance. And that's ranked in order of what was the most important. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time following up all these. Um, yeah, this looks like it's this looks like it's the success rate of students, like the top achieving students, higher education, mum's education background, mum's job, how much time they spend studying. Those were the most important features there. Okay, and there's a graph that was associated with that. All right. Forget what that one is. I think that's the low achieving ones. I think. Yeah, I don't need to go through all these ones. Yeah, because I didn't really use them. Um, okay, I think I used one of those ones. Yeah, that's the one about alcohol consumption. So frequent drinkers, it was had the likeliness of going out with friends. There was a massive gender disparity. The boys were drinking far more than the girls. Study time was another feature that was important in that one. Okay, so moving on, I didn't really do much of the romantic stuff, so I kind of shelved that one. It was something I was looking into doing. I never really went anywhere with it because it really wasn't. It wasn't saying anything interesting. It wasn't going anywhere. Okay, so yeah, here's some of the other ones. So this is the one I think I'm talking about. Yeah, so there's Portuguese grades by student. The girls look like they're doing slightly better than the boys. Yeah, this is the ones I was looking at. Mum's job and what's that one? Mum's education level. I fixed that one up a bit more. That's a little bit more broken down. So that is, I think that's education level and job for mother. So that was a little bit too complicated, so I didn't include that one. Um, Portuguese grades by mother's education. Yep, there's that one from the assignment. Okay, and I think that's just another way of presenting it. I think I presented that one instead. Okay. All right. Average. Okay, so I'm looking at study time now, or what did I say there? Okay, so this is where it got a bit interesting with some of the disparities for boys and girls. So I looked at this and said, okay, average final grade of the boys and the girls. Okay, you're going to get males in the lower end were below females, so males were dropping out if they weren't studying much. That was close. If they were doing a fair bit of studies in this third kind of category, males were outperforming females, and then you had this massive drop off. Like, okay, like the boys had like burnout. It's like so I kind of put one of my design questions were boys burning out. So that was an interesting feature. And I don't know why that's not working. Probably, it doesn't matter. Skip over it. Okay, so yeah, and that's probably the one I put up on there. Average. So I looked at average mathematic grades, and it was like, okay, there's a little bit of inversion. That's gonna be close. Boys outperforming girls, boys massively outperforming girls, and boys a little bit outperforming girls. So boys are doing quite better at math. They just don't want to speak Portuguese. Okay. So, and I think I put that one in there. That's the one I'll use to compare from that one. Yeah. So that high study, low success, in comparison to girls, in contrast to what I see here was interesting. All right, so there's something very interesting comparing the gender and the subject was in there. Okay, so all right, yeah, so that was my parallelogram. That's we've already seen that. Yeah, it's only going to work for numeric data, unfortunately. So I can't put all the features in there. Okay, so I don't remember what that is. Higher workout. Okay, higher top Q higher. I can't even remember what that's for. Oh, that's the groupings for all. These are the students who self-identify whether or not they want to go to so higher is the students who self-identified whether they want to go on to higher education. So you can see here you got it's actually a massive discrepancy in terms of yes. You can see how large it is. You've got several hundred students, over 500 students want to go on to higher education. Less than 70 do not. And in terms of the number of students who do not want to go, who have decided they do not want to go on to higher education and are scoring in the top whatever percentile I put the higher as. So you can go back and check. I've forgotten now. Whatever score I put, like 14 and above, I think. There's only one student who decided, no, I don't want to go to higher education, but is still achieving at a very high level. And I don't know, they're very diligent student and they just want to succeed for succession's sake. Okay. But you can see there's a large students who want to go into higher education and uh, are not in the top quartile. And yeah, there's a big discrepancy in the population sizes between yes and no. So I didn't really think there was really much I could do with this, to be honest, because it was just too small. Figure that just one, it might as well not be there. I didn't do this. This is a project that didn't work out. I didn't do anything with the tree map. It just I couldn't get numbers that actually showed anything nice. It was a visualization project. I had to show like nice visualizations. Like so, if the visualizations turned to rubbish, it wasn't worth following up. So this is just nonsense. Okay. Drink importance. Okay, so yeah, that's that graph. Yeah, I had to show like some other things in the visualizations. I had to show these little ones that are saying, hey, I'm featuring these as special. So the education support, extra paid classes, extra education support. And I was looking at those as features that might be they stick out for the things that schools are doing, and they feature for students who frequently say they're consuming alcohol. All right. Okay, what is that one? Okay, 100%. So that one, yeah. Let's have a look at that one. I don't know. I'm not gonna bother with fixing that. Okay. So okay. All right. So yeah, we've seen the boys and the girls breakdown with this one. I'm sure we'll see it later on, but that's how the numbers break down. Study time. Okay. Females, are you drinking? Are you not drinking? I think that's still continued. Yeah, it's continues in the next page. So by females, um, low study time. Yeah, I guess some of them drinking, some of them not. Um, the more females in general are in their second tier study time. So yeah, but in the way I visualize this, it all end up being like normalized by the maximum height of the bar graph. So like the fact there is 90 here and nearly 200 here, that didn't throw it off. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute because I'm sure that's what's coming next. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so yeah, this is done by proportions. So of the students, yeah, so there's of the students who study less than 2 hours a week. That's the breakdown of males drinking, not drinking frequently, uh, and 2 to 5 hours, 5 to 10. Let's have a look at those numbers again, which is kind of curious again. 5 to 10 for the boys. The boys. Okay, it was entirely false. Yeah, there was no trues in that three. No one studying that length of time wanted to fess up they were drinking a lot. Whereas that wasn't true if they were drinking, if they were studying more than 10 hours, or at least self-reporting and studying more than 10 hours. And the girls made a lot more sense. It's like, okay, the more they study, the less they're drinking. Okay, okay, let's move on. All right, and this was a yeah, don't worry about that. That was a failed attempt at writing, trying to design R to make me a nice dashboard, and like, nah, I'll just copy paste stuff and make it work myself. Okay, so that was yeah, that was my script for R Studio. So yeah, I guess so. All right, so I might just leave it here, and I'll happy to talk to anyone who wants to discuss the data in more detail. But good luck in just in learning more about it yourself. See ya.